Hey, what's going on? My name's Sickno, and welcome to another talk. Today's talk is going to be about Call of Duty and what I think about the new Call of Duty that just came out 3 weeks ago. Before we dive into that, I have a couple of updates for y'all. The first thing is that we got some crazy new artwork on the wall over here. Me and my wife went to the record store and we got some new stuff. So you'll see that on the wall behind me. Second of all, I'm pretty sure I upgraded or updated the resolution of my camera, so it should be 1080p now instead of 720. That's really nice for me. And third, you'll actually see some gameplay of Call of Duty. This is me playing on Terminal and Subbase. Someone recommended that I put gameplay over this, so now you have some Call of Duty gameplay. So without further ado, let's just jump right into what is Call of Duty. So Call of Duty is the bread and butter of first-person shooters. You are basically running around, shooting people, getting kill streaks, throwing grenades, using a bunch of different guns, assault rifles, submachine guns, shotguns, sniper rifles, the whole bunch of it. And I have some thoughts. I've really been enjoying the game the past 3 weeks. I originally wasn't going to buy it because I knew it was going into it, it'd be the same old game. But my friends were buying it, and it came out on Veterans Day, which was Friday, and I had that day off of work, so I was like, you know what? I'll go ahead and buy it. Screw it. And I've been playing it for 3 weeks now. So I have some thoughts, some pros, some cons, and written down, and I'll just kind of go through the list and tell you about what I think. So let's start with the pros, the positive side. So the first thing that really was there for me was the nostalgia, right? So this game is Modern Warfare 3, titled Modern Warfare 3, MW3. And it has all of the old maps from Modern Warfare 2 2009. So it's kind of a weird, I don't know why they named it that way, but we'll go along with it. It's okay, Activision Blizzard, y'all good. It has all the old maps from the old game, and that's really cool. And pairing that with playing with a bunch of friends is really awesome. Get to play with all your friends, relive those moments, you know, a decade ago, right? And playing the game. That's pretty cool. So other things that they've done with the game. They've added zombies in Modern Warfare. That's pretty weird. Usually the Black Ops games have the zombies, but they did this open world zombies, and I thought it was a pretty cool type of game. I hope they expand onto it. I'm not going to get too much into it because it's, you know, it's a different game mode, but I really want to focus on multiplayer. But it was pretty good. Played it a little bit, had fun, enjoyed it, you know. Next thing I want to talk about is the movement system. Now, the movement system is completely revamped, and I've heard from, you know, Twitter or whatever that people really don't like it. And I disagree. I think that the movement system is fantastic. And they did a really great change a couple days ago with slide canceling, reducing the time it takes to slide cancel. And I think it's fantastic. They made Call of Duty a little bit more arcadey, which is fine. It was already going in that direction, and I hope that they continue to make it more of an arcade style type of run and gun game like that, first person shooter, because it really enhances the experience, and the movement is so clean now. I actually played Payday 3 right after playing like 2 weeks of Call of Duty, and I had such a hard time with the movement because it was so different and so much more clunkier than this. Call of Duty, you're flying around the map, and I think it is awesome. It's a lot of fun. There was also this really funny snake glitch that just came out, and that was really funny. You mess with some settings on mouse and keyboard, and you could go into the snake mode where you're literally slithering across the map. Super funny. Just a really funny glitch, but I thought I'd bring that up. That I hope they patch that soon. And another one another positive to come out from this was the UI. And don't get fired up because I think the UI is bad, and we'll talk about that later. But reusing the UI, I thought was really cool. And what I mean by that is the UI is reused from the last game, Modern Warfare 2 of last year, not the 2009 one. And that's really cool and really awesome from a developer's perspective. I kind of have some insight because I am an iOS developer, and I also have done game development during school, so I kind of know the game developer's mindset. And when you can reuse components like that, like the entire UI system, and what they did was they called it Call of Duty HQ, where you can access all of the games, all of the game modes and stuff like that in this little hub of UI. And you can access the older games and stuff like that through this UI. That is really great that you can reuse that. And the reason is because if you don't have to recreate this new UI over and over and over again, it gives developers other opportunities to create new content, such as new game modes, new operator skins, or maybe focus on bug fixing, more. Maybe server stability, which that's another good point, is that the launch for this game was fantastic. There was little to no server issues compared to last year's Call of Duty release. Last year's Call of Duty release there was a ton of bugs, there was a ton of crashes, players couldn't get into game with each other. It was an overall miserable experience. But this year, there was absolutely nothing wrong with it. Went pretty dang smooth, other than the glitch where you could get access to the game, 6 hours early, which I thought was ridiculous. I don't know how they didn't patch that or find that, but that was pretty funny. But yeah, being able to reuse, hopping back on the train tracks, right? Being able to reuse the UI is fantastic for creating other stuff, creating game modes, creating, anything. Honestly, creating new weapons, new I said operators and game modes and stuff like that, but just creating new content for the game instead of focusing on, creating UI that can be recycled over and over again. That's something that I would appreciate being recycled over and over again. And maybe they can update it in the future where it's better. And I was thinking about this because there's another idea for another video, but Overwatch 1 had, in my opinion, the greatest UI of a game that I've ever played. So I think that they should take a note out of that book, but we'll get into that later. But reusable UI makes a good game better because it allows time for really expensive engineers to focus their time and efforts on other things other than recreating a piece that can be reused. So great job on reusable UI, Activision. So that would conclude the other all the pros that I have about the game, but now we'll talk about the cons and what I don't like. So now that I just gassed the whole game up, let's talk about what's not so good. So it's the same old game, and honestly, is that really a con? Maybe, maybe not, but it's the same old game. If you're paying $70 for this game expecting to blow your socks off, if you've played any other Call of Duty before, you're not going to be surprised. It's the same game from a decade ago. They just, it's pretty much, the same gameplay. There's not really much else to it other than the new movement system and all that. So if you're going into it expecting a completely different game, you're going to be disappointed. Secondly, the UI. After I praised it a ton for a long time, it is still a mess. Everything is on the screen, just cluttered, and UI bugs, all sorts of stuff. Especially, just everything is on the screen. And I don't know if I like the cards that they do or not. It's just really frustrating to navigate. And that's what I was talking about. Overwatch 1 just was able to navigate the UI so fast. I know exactly where I was clicking. I was clicking at Mach speed. So they need to do a better job with that. And maybe there needs to be... Sorry about that. My computer just went into sleep mode. But continuing on, The UI is just really a mess, and they need to fix it somehow, some way. I know they have a lot of effort put into that, so maybe just slight UI improvements that make it faster, more responsive, less laggy. And what else do I have to say about the UI? It's just a mess. It's a cluster, and if they could somehow just reduce it down to make it easy to navigate, it would be great. Third thing is the balancing of this game. Now, I do have to commend them because just a couple minutes ago they released a tweet saying that they nerfed all the guns that I wanted nerfed. Specifically the DG. The DG was a is a 3-round burst weapon that is absolutely explosive. You can one burst people and kill them, and it's just ridiculous. So they just nerfed that, which is pretty good on them for doing that. There's also some other stuff that's kind of ridiculous. The knives in close quarters combat is unbelievable, unplayable if you have a gun out versus a knife, just impossible to play against. And the third thing is submachine guns. So close range weapons really have a disadvantage going into this game because the maps are so large. And, you know, when the maps are so large like that in open, you really have a disadvantage when you use those weapons because of the range on them, right? So when you have a map like Wasteland where it's, you know, 75% of the map is out in the open and you have a submachine gun, you can pretty much only play the submachine gun in the bunkers of the map. So, you know, maybe they could, going into, you know, getting the map pool more maps that are more compact, and I know they have some more coming, which is pretty nice. They also secluded speaking of maps, they brought back MW2 maps from last year, MW2 last year, not the 2009, and they put them in their separate playlist. I want to see them integrated into the regular playlist with all the remade maps. That would really help the pool. As well as reusing old maps, I think that's a great idea. I don't think that they should be excluded from the main playlist, though. I think that they should all be in the same playlist. Also, about the maps, this is my biggest groan point of the maps. The nades are ridiculous. Throwing grenades and semtexes at the start of search and destroy rounds is so crucial and yet so annoying to play against. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten naded from spawn and killed, where the point where I'm sitting out 3 rounds in a row because nades are just blowing me up. And maybe there's some counterplay to it. I don't know. There's a perk that you can put on called EOD that reduces grenade damage. I've put that on. Still does not help. I don't know if the perk is broken or not, but there is so many nade spots that I just get absolutely blown up by. And it doesn't help that there's a bunch of explosives on the maps. So you have gas tanks, gas cans, cars blow up. All sorts of stuff blows up, and I cannot get a break for whatever reason. So maybe I'm not playing the game correctly, or maybe, you know, I'm running the wrong routes, or I need to wait. I don't know, but bottom line is I get naded so much, and maybe that needs to get a little nerf as well. Finally, there are some minor annoying bugs in the game. For example, I like to talk to the other team, let them know who they're playing against, who, you know, they're getting shit on or something like that. And there's this bug on the loading screen when you're loading into the game. Right before you're loading into the game, all mics cut out for whatever reason, and you can't hear the other team. And that is really frustrating. Just like little stuff like that piles up. And, you know, maybe they fix it, maybe they don't. Maybe I need to put a ticket in for Activision. Be like, write them an email and be like, yo, your game doesn't work here. Throw them a video. That'd be pretty nice. Hopefully they would respond to that. And you know what? I'm going to do that right after this video. How about that? So yeah, that concludes most of my thoughts about this game. I think I've pretty much covered everything. So what are my final thoughts ending this video? I think that Call of Duty is going into the right direction. I think that the arcade style shooter, making it less realistic, not so much of a Fortnite, but well, they're kind of doing that with the outlandish skins that they have, but you know, making it more arcadey and more like the movement system feels really good. I think that's a great direction to go in. I think that this game shouldn't go the direction of realism because of, you know, the way it is now with all the operator skins. And do I think it's worth the $70 that I paid? Hell no, I don't think it's worth the $70 I paid. I think that the game should be more reusable, and year after year it should be $40. I think $40 is a decent price point. But the game shouldn't be a full-blown $70 because there's so much more content that they can milk out of people, like Battle Pass stuff, bundles, and other stuff than gating the game on $70. Like, I just think that's ridiculous. And, you know, people are going to keep buying it, just like I did. So they're going to keep doing it. And it's unfortunate, but what can you do, right? But other than that, I think the game is overall in a good spot. I think the devs are pretty open, or at least what I've seen on Charlie Intel on Twitter, it's been pretty good. They've been talking about a lot of stuff to improve, talking about a lot of stuff to buff or nerf, talking about a lot of stuff to more content to put into the game. So I'm really excited about that, and I hope that this game continues to trend in the right direction, which I think it is. I think it's taking good steps to go into the right direction. There is some stuff that needs to be tweaked, but overall, I've had a good experience, and I'm pretty sure my friends have too. So that's going to be the end of the video. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening in on this 17-minute video. I hope you guys like the gameplay. And yeah, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments if you have any. Appreciate you coming by, stopping by, and watching the video. And I will see you in the next one. See ya.